Hi people. Going to do a thing today. Going to blow the lid on the world of hi-fi reviewing across the ages. Some of the nonsense spoken. What are the forces at work? What's going on in this business? I'm basically in this business, I guess, even though I'm almost always reviewing vintage gear. But of course, you know, it makes me think about it. And I've been listening to reviews. In the old days, I'd be reading magazines, but it's the same kind of concepts at work. I want to talk about how a lot of people who review hi-fi, not all of them, but a lot of them, they don't actually say anything. I find this very annoying and baffling, even though you might be able to figure out why. But you know, you can watch a review 10 minutes long, 20 minutes long of an amp or the speakers or whatever it is. And at the end of it, you go away, or I go away, and I don't know anything about it. I know what it looks like. I've heard a lot of talking. I don't know what it sounds like. So people don't do that. To me, a lot, not all, but a lot of people are just not telling you what things sound like. Now, this magazine, 1978, they would do the most detailed sound reviews in these days. I mean, the money was there. Hi-fi was a huge business. Everyone was buying a hi-fi, like people were buying iPhones. They were buying hi-fi, you know. So they would spend money. They would have listening panels. They'd have 4 people sitting around taking notes for a few days, set it all up lovely. And let me just read to you a couple of the, just to get the flavour of the way people talked about these things in those days. So this would be, can you see that? JBL. Is it L110? Yes? Just to give you the flavour of it. A period of listening of the L110 showed it to have some distinct coloration, mainly in the upper bass and mid-range, together with some shortage of bass extension. On the whole, the general quality was acceptable and not fatiguing over long periods. Detailed comparisons with the standard ELS. They were using quad electrostatics as their reference. They're not really rated these days. And that is also an interesting thing, because things, you could say they go out of fashion, but that, good sound doesn't really go out of fashion. But there seems to be reasons why things become very popular and everyone thinks they're great. And then 10 years later, no one wants to talk about that anymore. They want to talk about something else, Let me do another one here on this Monitor Audio MA4 Mark II, which I have. Just to give you the picture, mild mid-coloration and very slight hardness in the top. It had a surprising extended bass, and the transient performance was also very good. Compared with our normal electrostatics, the solo piano, a test the apparent simplicity of which is most deceptive, showed a little extra warmth in the bass notes. I mean, I've got those speakers. That sounds right to me. They also use organ notes. They're listening to organ music, and they're referred here. In the 8-foot stops, there was an unevenness. So literally talking about different pipes of the organ, and there's a 16-foot pipe, which I guess has got must be the low notes, or very low. So they were, they listen to all these speakers. They review about 4 or 5 speakers here and play this organ music. And an organ note is going to be a good thing, because it's also acoustic, isn't it? It's also got an air. It's not like a big fat just bass note, So a demanding test. So that's what they were doing in those days, really going to town, spending time and money. And I find that's what they're not telling me enough about the sound. they're talking about the features a lot. You get a lot of discussion of, it's got a coaxial, it's got a 5.5 Bluetooth that you can put on the roof and it will come up the floor and hit the side of the head and do all kinds of amazing things with these features. To me, if it doesn't sound good, I don't care what features it's got. I presume your people agree with that. I just presume they do. But tell me if I'm getting this wrong. But the discussion about features. If you need those features, you've got to have it. But it's a red herring to prioritize that. That's what I want to say. So I see lots of reviews or video reviews where I'm just not coming away with any knowledge about what it sounds like. And there are some people that I do that do that. There are people doing that, but a lot of them are not doing that, and a lot of them are, have 25 links to sell things on, other websites. So that's the business they're in. That's how the business works. If you're in the hi-fi business, I don't really consider myself in the hi-fi business. Yeah, the other thing is there's always a great new thing, isn't there? It's almost every 2 weeks, right? I don't really watch all these videos, but there's always someone going, you gotta have this, you gotta have this, now you gotta have this, now you gotta have this. It just goes on and on. It's been going on my whole life. Now, it's true, there have been significant improvements in certain things. Like if you're talking about modern things like a DAC, things like that will start expensive and get cheaper as the technology improves. Like a mobile phone, first ones will be very expensive and they'll get cheaper. So certain things will improve, but the idea that it's really happens that often, if it happened that often, I wouldn't be listening to an amp and speakers and turntable from 1972 and it sound really good if massive amounts of leaps and bounds improvements had happened in the last 52 years. That stuff would be hopeless. It would just be hopeless. So you got to watch this. You got to watch it. Another thing which I knew, but I don't know it fully in detail, companies are now conglomerated together. It's very hard for companies to make money consistently for 50 years. Same things happen to car companies. BMW owns Skoda and Maserati and something else. I don't know, Mini. They own Mini, isn't it? The Mini Cooper. Lots of that's what happens. And that's happened in the world of hi-fi. I just did a little bit of research. There's a company called IAG. What that stands for, I forgot. It's International Audio something. They own Quad, Wharfdale, Mission, Audio Lab, and Castle Acoustics. Well, make of that what you will, but in the public's mind, those are individual companies, but they're probably all sharing the same research and development facilities. I would imagine that, as I say, I'm not going to do massive research on that, and you could research it yourself, but it's worth knowing that these companies are, if you go back in time, you find more separate individual companies, and up to date, you'll find they're owned by lots of one company owns many, because of the nature of the business and the fact that it's really kind of a shrinking business, or has shrunk, So, I'm not blaming anyone for that, but this is the truth. This is the fact of the matter. So yeah, it's always a great new thing. Reviews are not giving you enough about sound. Oh, here's the thing. I nearly forgot. As a YouTuber, I know this. If you make a video and it says, these speakers are boring and not good, lackluster speakers, uninteresting speakers, if that's the title of your video, chances are no one will watch it. Bad news does not sell. And anyone making YouTube videos, they know that. They know that. I know this very well. I've had things to review and I've gone, this is so uninteresting, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to review it at all because no one will want to watch it, you know. So it's worth knowing. Bad news does not sell. So, I mean, I have reviewed and discussed the Kef LS50 quite a few times, and I think it's no good at all. Yeah, pretty much no good at all. I just don't enjoy it. It has a squawky bit in the middle. It doesn't have airy top end. I don't really find it an uninteresting speaker, and so does anyone that's come around my house. And I say that, and what you get if you say these things is you get right people commenting, you know, saying you're an idiot and you're absolute nonsense, you don't know what you're talking about. So, you know, it's never a great experience telling people that something isn't good. So you get a lot of anger if you tell the truth. It's no fun, you know, and you won't get the views. So no one wants to do that, you know. So the whole thing you watch and hear goes through that kind of filter that bad news is kept out. I mean, I will say it occasionally because I want to, and I'm not selling any products. This is the other thing, yeah, really worth knowing. If someone's got 50 products in their description that they're linking to, you're in the hi-fi business. That's what you're in. You're selling. You know what I'm saying? This actually brings me to, I remember what looked so ridiculous, really. There's a well-known chain of hi-fi sellers in England. I'm not sure if they have these in America. It's not a poor company. Yes, it's not poor. It's the opposite of poor. And apparently you can hear that. Yes. That company would always put a big advert in a certain magazine. I won't tell you what magazine that is, but they would put a big ad in that magazine. And if you went into this shop, there would be racks of photocopied reviews from the magazine with the products that shop sell, and they'd all have 5 stars. Okay, you know, it's I don't want to use the C word, but it's called corruption. Right? Is it called corruption, or do people call it marketing, good marketing? Anyway, you get the picture. So at the end of the day, I probably just confused the hell out of you. You don't know who to believe now, but this is what I've seen. So anyway, that's it for today. If you like this kind of stuff, there's a button called like, and see you again. Okay, bye now.